Animal Man number 17, written by Jeff Lemire and Scott Snyder, art by Steve Pugh and Timothy Green II. This is the beginning of the finale of RotWorld, which is now combining both Animal Man and Swamp Thing all into one plot. So required reading is everything that came before this in both books. So this one picks up immediately outside of Anton Arcane's castle, and it is Buddy Baker and crew versus what seems to be the entire Justice League. And throughout this whole book, Buddy keeps on saying, like, I can feel Maxine. She's nearby. She's, like, super close, and I'm going to find her. So just know that keeps on happening. But before they can even really get that much into the fight, Flash is just cutting down everybody because it's Flash. And Frankenstein's like, hey, buddy, you might want to go take care of Flash. He's kind of an issue. As he's getting his arm chopped off by Wonder Woman. So at that point, Buddy's like, okay, I will figure out something to try to keep up with the Flash. And he realizes, okay, because Flash has been ratified, he's a little bit slower, so I just need to reach in the red and find something fast. And he goes for like cheetahs and gazelles and stuff like that. And it's like, no, they're all dead. Okay, gonna have to get creative. And he comes up with like all of the little insects that are basically rot things, like cockroaches and ants and such. And he uses that as his link, and he gets the speed that they relatively have to themselves. So he is actually able to run and catch up to the Flash, tackles him down to the ground, and bashes his head into a rock. And there you go. Flash is off the table, as much as an undead monster can really be off the table. And Medfield chimes in. He's like, hey, I'm sensing some green. It's literally on the other side of the castle. So then we cut over to Swamp Thing, who is battling Superman as well as a bunch of other, I want to say like C-list villains. And basically Superman's the big one that he's trying to go against. Turns out they do have a fail-safe plan here for Superman, and Barbara attacks him from behind with a shard of kryptonite that Batman kept around. But turns out being ratified means kryptonite doesn't matter anymore, and Superman just yanks it out and then punches Swamp Thing in the face. And it's like, okay, so kryptonite doesn't work on Superman anymore. What do we do? And he's like, okay, how about this? Superman's kind of like a plant because he needs sunlight for his powers, but if the rot kind of made him the inverse of that, maybe if he gets sunlight, he'll be depowered. And it's like, all right, worth a shot. So Swamp Thing grabs Superman, flies him up as high as he can in the sky to get him away from the fight. Barbara tells Mr. Freeze to fire his freeze gun to make an opening in the clouds. And they all wait for the signal. And then he's like, now. And Mr. Freeze is about to shoot. And then he gets distracted by the ratified version of his wife, Nora, who then disembowels him. And Swamp Thing and Barbara are looking on like, God, are you kidding me? So Barbara goes down, grabs the gun, shoots in the sky, and the moment sunlight hits Superman, he just explodes. So Superman's off the table, back to Animal Man's fight, and everyone's like, hey, maybe you should go over there and see what all the fuss is about, because Constantine said that you'd have to be with Swamp Thing for any chance of survival. And he's like, I can't just leave you guys here. And then all of a sudden the cavalry arrives in the form of the Guardians of the Red and Shepherd. And he's like, hey, we came to fight because if you lose this battle, we're all dead anyway. And Buddy's like, good point. Have at it. So then back over at Swamp Thing's side, turns out that the final thing that they're going to be doing is that this giant robot that Batman built that dispenses like green biorestorative formula, it's actually a bomb, but it's a cloud seeding bomb. So they need to explode it up in the atmosphere, and it will then rain down green on everything, killing all of the rot nearby. So Swamp Thing with his Bane armor is like, yeah, I can totally lift this up, no problem. And then Katana comes in, cuts the valves on his Bane armor, and he's like, oh, nope, can't lift it anymore. So they're screwed. Back at the Animal Man side, basically everyone's like, okay, we're still being overrun here, even after taking out the Flash. We're having a bad time, and it comes down to a Steel versus Cyborg standoff, where Steel manages to crush Cyborg with his giant mighty mallet and then hacks into Cyborg's suit so that he's able to control the mechanical side and use all of the weapons that Cyborg has. So it's a cool moment. Medfill is talking to Animal Man, and he's like, "Oh, don't worry, buddy, I'll protect," and then immediately gets his head cut off by just some random bat that's flying nearby. And his ring comes off his finger and says like, "All right, looking for a replacement. Hey, you'll do. Frankenstein of Earth. You want to be a Green Lantern?" And he's like, "Yeah." So he gets the ring. He immediately gets his arm back in the form of a construct, and then he cleaves Wonder Woman in half with a construct sword. So at that point, all the Animal Man side are like, "Hey, we're good over here if you want to go over and deal with Swamp Thing." He's like, "Yeah, okay, we'll do." So Animal Man goes over to Swamp Thing's side. Barbara explains the situation of how they got to get that thing up in the clouds, and Animal Man's like, "Batman did that? Geez, all right, never underestimate Batman, I guess." But before they're able to do anything, they hear a shout from across the battlefield, and it's Anton Arcane on top of his tower, and he's like, "You guys, oh, you precocious little scamps thinking you actually stood a chance here? I've got some friends for you. I brought some gifts." And he opens up the door to his tower, and out comes a bunch of, as best as I can describe them, Silent Hill clones of Abby Arcane and a horrible mutated ratified version of Maxine, who says, "Hello, Daddy." So, bad news in the general sense. I think this was fantastic. I thought it was they did a good job of wrapping up both of those different plots that they're going on in terms of, hey, how does one side deal with the Flash and the Justice League? How does the other side deal with Superman and getting that bomb to go out? They've intertwined both the stories perfectly well, I feel. I personally don't see anything really wrong with this issue. The only thing that feels a bit, not bad, but just that, like I said at the beginning, we had Buddy the entire time being like, "Maxine's so close, it's right there." This issue just went a bit too much into, yeah, that may as well happen. Where it's like, oh, we have to lift up, particularly on the Swamp Thing side, Freeze has to shoot his gun. Oh, it may as well happen that he gets distracted. Oh, he can lift this bomb. Oh, it may as well happen that he gets his valve cut. Oh, we can feel where Maxine is. Oh, it may as well happen that she's actually already turned. It's just kind of a bit too, like, torture porny and, like, all is lost times 1,000. So I would have liked it if there had just been, maybe something goes right. Just one thing goes right at any point in this event. But I guess that's kind of the point, is that it doesn't. Overall, though, did enjoy it. I'm going to give this one I'm going to give it an 8.5. I was debating on the 0.5. I am going to give it the 0.5. I do think it is a solid, we still got one more part in the next Swamp Thing, but it's a solid beginning of the wrap-up to the RotWorld event.